busy, but.
Joe, do you know who video 4 is?
What's up?
Video 4? Who's driving video 4?
You asked why you can put in my ears the sound of the starter.
They give me a video 4
and the rest of the race goes down the track. It's nothing but scatter. Thank you.
Next event is Heat C of the Men's Collegiate Varsity, the Men's Cal Cup. Lane 1, Purdue. Lane 2, UC Santa Barbara. Lane 3, Georgia Tech. Lane 4, UC Davis. Lane 5, Santa Clara. Lane 6, California Maritime Academy. And Lane 7, UC Berkeley Lightweights.
All right. If you can give me the sound of the starter, that'd be helpful. And the announcement coming down. The flag is up, and we have the start for event number 3, Men's Collegiate Varsity, Heat C. A little bit of splashing over in lane number 4, but pretty much everybody's away cleanly. The blue boat in lane 2, UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos have your early lead by a seat over Georgia Tech. In that 4th position is Santa Clara, and then it's pretty much bunched up. We're by the 100-meter breakage mark. And still, your early leader now over in lane 1. Now make that lane 2. It's UC Santa Barbara. Very close, as it should be during that first 250 meters. Boats now establishing their rhythm, trying to get the swing, trying to get some spacing out of each stroke. Right now, it's still University of California, Santa Barbara. Check that, it's UC Davis now leading the race. Coming up to the 500-meter mark. In lane number 3, check that again, it's Georgia Tech. Ramblin' Wreck rowing nicely at 36 strokes per minute, leads the way to the 500-meter mark. Followed closely by UC Santa Barbara, Purdue University, Santa Clara, UC Davis, then the University of California Lightweights, California Maritime trails.
Kind of a scrambling start here, as we've had the leadership exchange several times in the first 500 meters, which would be indicative of the outstanding field that we have in this, the Men's Collegiate Varsity. This is the beginning of the Copley Cup, and we check that. This is Heat C, I beg your pardon, of the Cal Cup, and on the early lead was Georgia Tech. University of California, Santa Barbara is in 2nd spot, and they're coming out of lane number 2. The remainder of the lane assignments, Purdue is in lane 1. Out in lane number 4 is the University of California, Davis. Lane 5 is Santa Clara. Lane 6, California Maritime Academy out of Vallejo, California, and the University of California lightweight crew out in lane number 7.
So Georgia Tech are presently leading the pack after the first 500. They are sitting on the rest of the crews as we watch them. They have no early season form at this stage, so this appears to be the first competitive hit out for this crew, and they're acquitting themselves very well. UC Santa Barbara in lane 2 are pressing them hard. They have beaten UC Irvine, University of San Diego State, and UCLA so far this season. They lost a really tight one to UC San Diego, and they've lost to Davis. Davis out in lane 4 are not having a good row, it has to be said. One would have expected them to be a little bit more on the pace at this point. They've beaten Santa Clara, but Santa Clara are leading them at this point. They've beaten Cal Lightweights, and they've beaten UC Santa Barbara so far this season. But we're starting to see some separation now between the crews in lanes 3, Georgia Tech, 2, UC Santa Barbara, and in between them, the crew from Purdue, who have beaten Marietta, but lost to Notre Dame so far, who won of course, the last heat.
Nobody up here, none of the officials.
On the shoreline, Purdue beginning to make a bit of a move as they have made up some ground in the last 500 meters. 2 lanes outside of them, Georgia Tech still hanging on. And the Gauchos from the University of California, Santa Barbara, trailing in that 3rd position. Then looking to the outside, it looks like Santa Clara has made a move up on University of California, Davis, Cal Lightweight, and then California Maritime Academy, as we're coming inside 500 meters left to go in this, the race number 3.
This is really, really tight between Purdue, UC Santa Barbara, and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech and Purdue are going bow ball for bow ball, and UC Santa Barbara no more than a couple of seats down on them. This is going to be a very, very tight race for the 2 top positions going through to the grand final. Someone's going to be disappointed here.
Getting a little separation outside to the lanes 4, 5, and of course the trailing lanes of 6 and 7. But on our leadership, Georgia Tech and Purdue. Purdue along the shoreline, Georgia Tech in the middle of our field. They're in lane number 3. And trying to sneak up in between them, University of California, Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara had an early lead, unable to hang on as they've now tailed off just a bit to that 3rd position. Then outside we go to UC Davis, beginning to make a bit of a move as they have eclipsed Santa Clara on the outside. And then far outside, the Cal Lightweight crew trying to get back into it, and Cal Maritime Academy trailing. Along the shoreline, and in lane number 3 is our race with the California school at Santa Barbara trying to catch up. It looks like Georgia Tech beginning to exert some pressure. Georgia Tech in the middle of the field. Along the shoreline is Purdue, and trying desperately to catch up in the last 100 meters would be Santa Barbara.
UC Santa Barbara just really sprinted. They began their sprint, and Georgia Tech have been forced to take it up themselves. This is going to be really tight between these 2 for 2nd place. Purdue have asserted their authority in the final 500.
Purdue on the shoreline looks like they're the unofficial winner, and it looks like Georgia Tech has fought off a furious charge by Santa Barbara. Then we have some open water back to University of California, Davis, more open water back to Santa Clara. And then on the far outside, it's Cal, and then the Cal Maritime Academy boat trailing. Let's take a look at that finish.
Nice effort by Purdue in the 3rd 500 to hold off the to get past, get level with and get past Georgia Tech, and then they took it away in the final 500. Not an easy race, but they did it. Georgia Tech, after having held the lead, held on to 2nd place. UC Santa Barbara were right in touch with both crews all the way through. They'll be disappointed. Davis in 4th place, recovered from what must have been a less than satisfactory first 1,000, but pulled themselves up to be back in touch at the finish.
That high overview shot certainly shows you the symmetry and beauty of the rowing community and our San Diego Crew Classic. As we had an opportunity to see a great finish there, and we have much more racing yet to go. Coming up will be the 4th event of the day, and this will be the Women's Collegiate Varsity A, and we'll be with that shortly.
Got it. Let me know when.